Righto, so on this video we'll talk a little bit, I'll talk a little bit about my new toy, my new welder, and then we'll go into the rear quarter on the other side, on the driver's side. Just into a little bit more depth than the last video. Righto, let's get to it. Well, I just had something happen that I'd never had happen before. Always thought it was a bit of a myth because, well, it's never happened, but it just happened. So I was doing a bit of grinding and kaboom! That battery let go right next to me. Well, not next to me, but like right near me. There you go. It's not a myth, it happens. Next time, I'll be sure to keep it well out of the way. Well, let's see if I've set this thing up properly and if I've set my helmet up correctly. This bit of steel is not the cleanest, but I'll give it a little bit of a buff. At least I'll figure out if I know it's working. Oh, I can't see. That's too bright. And I stuck my tip. Oh. Let's see how this goes. Well, that's way too much for it. Let's back it off. Well, let's see if I've set this thing up properly and if I've set my helmet up correctly. This bit of steel is not the cleanest, but I'll give it a little bit of a buff. At least I'll figure out if I know it's working. Oh, I can't see. That's too bright. And I stuck my tip. Oh. Let's see how this goes. Well, that's way too much for it. Let's back it off. Let's try this. That's 40 amps. Let's actually go 35. On this handpiece, if I click this button, that's going up, and then that goes down. Then I pull back to start, and then so I do what I got to do, and then I pull back again to turn it off. And if I push it forward, it drops the amps to a preset percentage of whatever the welding amps I had it set to. So that's at 35 now. That was way high before. That was I can't remember, 60 or something. Yeah, so let's see what this does. Keep in mind this is my first proper go, well not, it's not even a proper go, first go at trying to TIG, and I'm not using any filler wire, I'm just trying to get used to the action. Oh. And I stuck the tip to it again. Anyway, so first go, fired up, stuck it straight away. Second go, fired it up, went along for 10 mil or so, blew a hole. Third go, turned it down to 35 amps, and I don't know how you can see that, but just went along a little bit. So I might give that tip a little touch up from where I've jammed it in there and got it stuck. And I might just turn it up just a little bit, say to 40, and I'll give it another pass and see if that's any better. I should really find out if that's the right sort of stick out too. Oh, let's see what happens. Well, there we go. Well, I can make a mark on the metal anyway. Be a whole nother function when I'm trying to do two things at once. She's going to be all over the shop like my camera work. Anyway, I suppose I should tell you what machine I'm actually using here. It's a Fronius magicwave 2200. So from what I can gather and from what I can remember, so that's what it's kicking off at, I think. 7 amps, which is 18% of the amperage I had it set at. So I might just up that 25. So then this is its ramp up. So from when it starts to ramp up to its weld, it's going to take 0.9. Oh, there we go. It's going to take 1 second to ramp up to its welding amperage, which is set at 40 amps. And then this is its drop down cycle. So like I was saying on that handpiece, when you push it forward, it'll, in case the job's getting too hot, it'll drop down to 30 amps, and then when you release it'll come back up to the 40, and then it'll take 1.5 seconds on its drop down once you release it, and then the infill or whatever will be 8 amps, 19%. This is 20% of your weld. tungsten size, 1.6, which I think it's actually 2.4 in it. And then it's got all, I don't know, I think it's, you press those two and it goes into the high frequency and wave settings and all sorts of hoo-ha that's way above my head. And then it's like, that was on DC, so it's got AC, and then it's got that button. When that one lights up, that's tungsten tip. So when you initially hit the trigger, it'll ball the tip to its desired what it wants. So it'll weld and then drop back and start your AC weld. Yeah. Well, that's as much as I can figure of the machine, and I'm not sure if that's 100% right, but that's what I can remember. So it'll be interesting to get a bit more use at the machine, get some time behind it and actually see if I can do this or not. It's something I've always wanted to do, but never actually really give it too much of a crack, because my everyday MIG welder has a TIG setup, but it's one of those touch start, scratch start ones, so you've actually got to touch it down, press your button, and then lift, and then start going. And I was rubbish at it, so I don't know if it was a lot younger, so I was probably a bit more impatient than I am now, so patience, and this machine was a little bit expensive, I'm not going to lie there, but yeah, hopefully I can get good at it and get my money's worth out of it. But I'm going to take it to my mate's shop in Gatton, Gonzo and Mitchell in there. They can have a play with it and tell me it does what it's supposed to do, because I've got a bit of warranty with it. So I'd like to get someone who can actually weld with it and say, yep, she's good, because I can try and weld and I'll say, oh, it's no good, but it can just be my shit welding. You just don't know. Anyway, that's a bit on the new toy that I've got here. It's just started to rain. Anyway, righto. Meh. That's what I got there. So I started blowing a hole, so I just pushed forward and then tried to fill as I went. It's not that bad. I think it's just a matter of trying to get real steady with your hand and everything. And a few lessons wouldn't go astray either. Working off best guess probably is not something you'd want to hang your life off. I definitely won't be welding any suspension components or anything in the near future. But practice, I guess. Practice, practice, practice. Well, I don't think there'll be any hashtag dropping dimes anytime soon, but for a first go, I think it's not too bad. Anyway, that's that. That's my new toy anyway. Thought I'd give you a quick show. Just attacked the other side and spotted it on. See the heat marks all come come through pretty good. I was just about to cut this quarter panel to shape to put up there, but I got this big dent here. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just leave this one, and then I'm like, no, those measurements across the top of the quarter are different. Where's my rule? Oh, this will do. So if you look at this one across the top, roughly 14 centimeters, and then if you look at that, you got like a whole 10 mil difference. So I'm going to beat that dent out, but it'll be a lot easier to do it while it's off the car and doesn't have that panel in the way. Now I can actually get into it and give it a clout with a micrometer and get it majority of the way out. Obviously I won't be able to get it perfect, but I'll be able to get it not too bad, I'd say. Oh, time to find me tapping tools. There's one. Start off nice little dings. See how we go. Where can I sit this? I don't know if you can see that or not, but anyway. Far from perfect, but at least it's pushed a majority of the way out now, and then that'll make it a lot easier to fix up. Right, now to try and do me all chop all this up again. A little bit lower. And this is the first test fit of it. Obviously it's going to need to be trimmed because I made it longer than it needs to be. And there's plenty of steel still up in there, so when that gets pushed back and can all be trimmed up. Trim along. I think I need to fire my cameraman. I forgot to turn the camera on again. So basically just went along with it sitting in place and run the grinder around all the overlap sections. So it'll all, well, that's kind of pushed out of shape because I've been ginning around with it. Yeah, but it'll all come in to place. So what I'll do now is I'll take the quarter panel off, just dolly this seam here where it's bent in, so it'll all pull in and tidy up all the raggedy ass edges. Yeah, and then while that quarter's off, I'll get that black sealer and paint up all the backside behind that quarter on the body there, because all the tack welds are done there now, so shouldn't be any need to go back in there. Righto, so that's what I'm going to get up. What I nearly forgot to do was fix that panel on there, so just making more cardboard templates, put it onto my old seal panel that I also used for the other piece. And then we'll bring her over to the anvil and bash it into shape. So there we have it. Whoops. Well, that's all welded up and then sprayed in that what's it called again? I can never remember the name of this stuff. 415 rust preventative paint. It stays tacky for ages, so I'm gonna have to wait at least a day because it never dries. Righto, well, this is me done for the day. I might go work on the F-truck for a bit. So there we have that tacked in place, and from there, well, you've seen what I've done on the other side, so it's basically going to do the same thing again on this side. So what worked, what didn't work? Well, not filling the holes from where I plasma coated all the old spot welds out, that's actually been really handy because I've been able to line the other panel up off those holes, making sure it's in the right spot.